Good morning, everybody. Vanessa Raymond here with Achieve Systems and Victory in Biz. I am your confidence and success coach, and I am so excited to have my wonderful guest here with me today, Mr. David Avrin. Hello, David.
Good morning or good afternoon, depending on when people are watching or listening to this. It is my treat, my privilege to be hanging out with you this morning.
Oh, yay. I'm so excited because we are having you as our keynote speaker for the Achieve conference again.
Looking forward to it. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, we can't wait to see what you have for us. As always, you are a treat. So I want to know a little bit about how you actually got into speaking.
Yeah, you know what? I spent a career in marketing and public relations, and I had worked at Children's Hospital in Denver for a lot of years. And then from there, sort of transitioned to doing some teaching and being asked to come and present and to do classes or coursework or speak to organizations about effective corporate communications. And I came to recognize about 20 years ago, you know what, people actually get paid for this. And so my career really grew from there. So I just got my 20-year pin from the National Speakers Association, but I kind of look at it from the perspective of it's just another way of teaching. You know, so much of what we do, if we're doing it in front of the room, there's this classic look at motivational speakers, and I've never identified as that. I think there's important things that business owners and entrepreneurs need to learn. The things that we do as we get together through Achieve and others to share information, and the serendipity of those unexpected conversations that happen in the hallways. But for me, I like to share my content. I spent most of my time talking about marketing and branding and how do we differentiate ourselves in a very competitive marketplace. But that has shifted a significant amount in recent years. I think part of it is because I came to the recognition, as many have, that what we say about ourselves, while important, is not nearly as impactful today as what other people say about us. And so I started embarking on some research a few years back about what is really driving those purchase decisions, what's driving those customers and those customers coming back. And I made a wholesale shift in my business towards customer experience and recognizing that the things how we interact with people, not just the customer service. I think we get that. We've been talking about it for 20 years or 40 years, really. But how easy are you to do business with? Do we recognize all the shifts that have happened during COVID and others about how we do business, how we communicate, how we learn about businesses, and how we compare? And so that's what drove my book, Why Customers Leave and How to Win Them Back, came out a few years ago. And so I've spent the last several years really helping organizations become remarkably easy to do business with.
I love that because, you know, David, communication is my thing too.
Absolutely.
I tackle it from the side of confidence and how we show up in our businesses. And I think it all goes together so well. And we know that customer experience is so important. It's such an important topic. In your opinion, what would you say are some of the biggest mistakes corporations out there make with regards to customer service, customer experience?
You know, I think it's mistakes that everybody's making. I think from entrepreneurs to corporations to small businesses and others, is that we get so focused on the way we want to do business. We've created this customer journey, right? Here's how people are going to research and look us up or look up competitors, make a decision, reach out, hire us, customize it, pay, deliver, whatever that might be, that entire journey. And it works, right? It's profitable. We've learned from others. And where it doesn't work, we tweak it. And it doesn't matter what's happening. It's sort of, this is a path that works. And then when our customers try to circumvent that or try to ask for something special or something custom or don't want to wait on hold, we get frustrated because they don't want to do it our way. Here's the problem. We have this great customer journey. Our customers have never read our employee manual. They don't know how they're supposed to do it. They just know how they want to do it. And so to your question, Vanessa, I think the biggest mistake is that we get really locked into a process and a system that we want to employ, that we want our customers to follow. And the smart companies today are recognizing that today's customers and clients are expecting an extraordinary level of flexibility. and customization. And we certainly saw that during COVID, this rash of new products and services, these phenomenal conveniences. I mean, my God, I get my groceries delivered and it's awesome. It's awesome.
I know.
I mean, there was a day, we had a day, it was a remarkable day. About 2 weeks ago, it was a Thursday where we actually had nothing delivered to the house. It was almost jarring. I was in a cold sweat just because why hasn't Amazon arrived at my house? Well, the reality is we've changed, all of us. We're all consumers, right? No matter where we are, if we're business owners or entrepreneurs, we're all consumers. And we have gotten used to an extraordinary level of convenience and flexibility. And to back to your question, I think the challenge we have is that we're kind of locked into how we want to do it. And the smart companies are really watching what others and finding ways to align how we do business with how our customers want to buy.
Right. Well, great answer. And I know, yes, with COVID, convenience has definitely become a thing amongst others. I know being able to teach a lot of my stuff and my classes from home has been super convenient. However, that person-to-person relations, it's very so important still. And I think people tend to forget that too. With that said, I have another question for you. You were mentioning how things have changed during COVID. As a speaker, what would you say has been the biggest challenges you've been facing post-COVID?
You know what? There really aren't significant challenges post-COVID. It was during COVID, right? It was the flexibility, it was the shift. And when you have somebody who makes their living traveling on airplanes to live events and live events and going on airplanes went away, we pivoted, right? We used the P word and we shifted to virtual presentations. And in many cases, here's the dichotomy. On one hand, this is remarkable. Look at you and I. We are in different places. We're talking real time, face to face. Others have the opportunity to listen in and watch. It's amazing. For my parents, this is science fiction. For you and I, it's Thursday.
Right.
It's remarkable. However, I think one of the big learnings during COVID was that virtual presentations, multi-day, are really difficult. It's difficult for the audience. It's difficult for the presenter. It doesn't mean that there isn't a role for it. It doesn't mean that there isn't a role for hybrid. But do I think the future is virtual? I don't. And that's not just being self-serving. I think multi-day, 4 or 5 day conferences are horrible. They're agonizing. People are sitting there, turning off their cameras or throwing a tennis ball against the wall. It's horrible for everyone. But I do think there's a part. I do think there's a role. It allows us from an interpersonal perspective, you had mentioned that, to reach out more often. If we are not physically in proximity, if we're not in the same city, it's a wonderful opportunity to have more contact, but it doesn't replace the importance of the face-to-face. And so coming out of COVID, I think in many ways we've realized what doesn't work, right? That Jetson's future and that everything's going to be virtual. I don't buy it. I think there will be an element of it, but I think coming out of it, I think we're in a wonderful place of opportunity, wonderful for entrepreneurs. There's more ways to reach out. There's more ways to connect. There's more examples of ways for us to differentiate our business from others as well. I think the future is incredibly bright for those who recognize the changes and the shifts and are adapting to them. The ones who are resistant are going to find themselves the next Toys R Us or Blockbuster. Right.
It's always about awareness, right?
Sure. Awareness and action.
Right. Awareness and action. I love that. Yes. Big words, David. You are an expert at customer experience, but you're also an expert speaker. You've been doing this for a very, very long time. And as you might know, we just launched our Achieve Speaker Pro division.
Wonderful.
And so, we're super excited about bringing speakers in, helping them grow their businesses as speakers, helping them create revenue from speaking. Do you have any tips for new up-and-coming speakers? What advice could you give them?
Well, absolutely. I think there's great opportunity. And I think that the marketplace has so many opportunities for speakers. On any day in Las Vegas, there's 600 to 800 conferences going on every single day. there's more than enough work for speakers. I think speakers get hung up on a couple of things. Number one is they get caught up on in the mechanics of it, and then they can't think. Somebody will say, I took a 3-day workshop on hand gestures and I can't get the phone to ring. I'm like, are you kidding me? Who cares what your hands are doing? People get so worked up on speaker coaching and they have to be perfect and don't just wander and move to it. It's garbage. You know what great speakers are? Great speakers are teachers. Great speakers are passionate about their subject and they teach it to others as well. Now, that's the first one, is they get hung up on the mechanics. And number two, this is the biggest problem for speakers, but it's also the biggest opportunity. We have a really interesting profession. We're the only profession that I can think of where most people got into the profession of speaking because they were encouraged by somebody who had no idea what the profession of speaking was, right? They're like, oh my God, that's an amazing story. The way you survived cancer or you climbed that mountain, you should be a motivational speaker. You should tell people, no, I think you should feed your family. Now,
Right.
passion is not unimportant, but nobody pays you for your passion. Nobody pays you for you to have a cathartic experience living your life's mission of touching lives, but they will pay for you to use your passion and experience to solve a problem that they have. Vanessa, this is the biggest challenge and misperception on the part of speakers. They think if they have passion in their heart and they want to change lives, they can make a living and people will pay them. They don't pay them for that. They pay them to solve their problems. Now, your passion, your story, your unique experience gives you the right to speak. It gives you the right to stand on that stage. But people write a check for you to use that passion and experience to help them increase their sales, develop their leaders, increase their emotional intelligence, right?
Right.
And it's tragic how many amazing people and amazing speakers starve or leave the profession within 1 to 2 years because they're starving, because nobody has told them that truth. And it's not about the passion, it's using the passion to help others in a way that they're willing to pay.
Fantastic advice, David. Thank you. So I'm going to shift gears a little bit here.
Sure.
I know you have a little bit of a history with our CEO, Robert Raymond. Do you want to share a little bit about that? I don't know.
Robert and I went to college together. As a matter of fact, he was a fraternity brother of my younger brother. And it's been wonderful watching such a good man grow over the years. I've known, and I always knew him as Bobby. And Bobby Raymond, to the core, from the time when he was a teenager, has been a really good man. And to be able to watch him and to support him in growing along with you and his tribe, this important mission of building businesses has been incredibly gratifying. I sound almost paternal in my pride and affection for my friend Bobby and what he has done, because he is the same good man. He's just a good man who knows a lot more today. And watching the amount of people in the lives that both of you have impacted together and continue to do so. There's a lot of inspiring people in the world, but the best inspiring people actually equip people to make a living and to support their families and to support the people that they support as healthcare practitioners and others as well. So I have a wonderful background with him, and we look at each other now and we go, how did we get old? When did this happen? This beard used to be really black and now it's white, but I'm actually impressed and proud of both of you and have great affection.
Well, thank you, David. And we're so happy to be able to call you friend. I'm happy to be able to call you and Laurel friends. It's been just such a wonderful journey.
And the journey continues. That's the best part of it.
It does. So last but not least, a little birdie told me that you have some amazing project that you're working on. I don't know if you wanted to maybe share a little bit about that.
You know what? I have not yet shared it, but I have in smaller circles. I'm in a really great place in my life, as my wife and I are new empty nesters, 5 kids grown and gone. It doesn't mean they're off the payroll, but at least they're out of the house. We've put a lot of thought into our third act. How do we make sure that we have a compelling and impactful and fulfilling third act. Many years ago, people would retire and they'd be dead within 5 or 6 years. Well, now we live 20, 30 years beyond. And so we devote so much of our time and attention to raising a family and to our children and our careers. And it's nice to be able to look and say, what do we get to do now with our time? And so many years back, I led CEO roundtable groups for an organization called Vistage. I've spoken to over 500 CEO roundtable groups over the last 12 years in multiple countries around the world. I've presented in 24 countries on 6 continents around the world. And I'm in the process of forming an organization called the Legacy Board. And the Legacy Board is for former CEOs to connect once a month and talk about their finances and talk about legacy and impact and mentoring and gather with other high-level leaders who are no longer running their organization, but still have a little fuel in the tank and they're not done. And so I'm pretty excited. I'm actually in the process of launching groups in multiple states. And I see this as my third act. I'm always going to speak. I love what I do. But to be able to be in that room every month with a group of people talking about what's really important, how do we leave a legacy and continue to make an impact, is one of the most exciting things I've done in my career. So stay tuned and watch it grow. And if anybody's interested, you can see what we're doing at thelegacyboard.com. So, it's about a rich and fulfilling life. And I like playing my part in helping to equip and inspire, just as you and Robert do through Achieve.
Well, thank you so much, David. I think that's a wonderful note to end on here. However, one more question. You were just saying how you've really traveled the world. You've spoken
very fortunate. Very fortunate.
Thousands of people. What is a favorite destination for you?
I'm really blessed to be able to travel. My mom passed away at 69 years old and never owned a passport. Most Americans don't own a passport. So I'm very fortunate to be able to travel pretty extensively as well. As I turn off my phone, because that's the reality today.
That's how it goes.
Phones ring as well. We're not going to transcribe that part of it. I love Dubai. I love Singapore. I love architecture. And so I love the contrast between the old and the ancient and the new. And what's interesting about Dubai is there is no old. It didn't exist, in any major shape 20 years ago. So every building is competing to be the most iconic architectural structure. And you just go there with your mouth open and your eyes wide. And it's international, and the food, and I eat and I have eaten my way across the world. And because I am the visiting speaker, they treat me like royalty everywhere I go in the world. At home, my wife's like, "Hey, big deal, go take out the trash." But,
right.
But I go to Johannesburg or Singapore or Mumbai or Delhi or Abu Dhabi, and they think I'm some kind of celebrity. And so they're taking me to feasts and they're picking me up in nice cars. And I just laugh. And my kids are like, "Dad, they think you're important." I'm like, I think I've got them suckered. I don't know. But yeah, I'm really, really blessed to be able to do international travel. And I'm excited now that COVID is over, that all of that is opening up again.
We can get back to it, right?
Yeah.
Well, thank you, David. And we are super excited to see you at the conference in June.
Thank you, as am I. If you want to learn more about me, look me up, davidavrin.com, and we will see you in June.
Fantastic. Thanks, David.
Thank you.